Uncensored, no holds barred talk. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is Global Reality Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network with me, your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being here with us tonight for another late night Moonbat edition of the broadcast. It is Monday, May the 14th into Tuesday, May 15th, 2012. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight, Moonbats. I almost wasn't going to do a show at all tonight. And it's one of those, again, one of those weird days, you know, sometimes it happens like that, where I'm rip-roaring and ready to do a show, and I really want to do one, and then, like, there's just, like, no material. I'm like, God damn it. So what I tend to do during those times is that's why the show, it starts creeping later and later in the archaic hours, is because what I'll do is in lieu of most people's attitude listen to my show is they'd rather have some kind of a show or a late show than no show at all. You know what I mean? So I'll just play music for a little while longer, or I'll let the archives extend a little longer before I start the music, stuff like that. So we have so many people listen on archives and listen on YouTube videos and stuff, and we also have a fucking dedicated contingent. Let's give it up for the live listeners. See, I don't think those people get enough credit in all of this. You know what I mean? Golf clap. There we go. For the dedicated fucking live listeners, man, for the people that fucking stay up into the goddamn Moonbat hours, I salute you. Thank you for being here always. Thank you for listening anytime, for listening out there on an archive later or YouTube video or something else of that nature. Either way, thanks for being with us. Again, not a lot of material. Generally, Mondays are always jam-packed for us. Too much stuff. Not enough time. Generally, we don't even get time to do reading much on Mondays because we're generally jam-packed with so much news. But tonight, there is not a lot of stuff, but I've got some different things I want to talk about here tonight. And so I'll get into some of those topics. We'll get into the news that we have to get into. And then we're going to be reading a brand new book for you here tonight. I apologize to the person that suggested that I read Vera Stanley Alder's Fifth Dimension. I will give you a rain check on that, and I will read that for you at a later date. The cool thing is, I went back and looked. We hadn't even started chapter 1 yet. We just had got through the beginning. Chapter 1, I looked. That's where my bookmark was. We hadn't even started chapter 1, so we're not that far into it. So it's digitally now, because I've got it on my iPad and stuff. So that's what I read my books off of now. We'll get to it later. I do have another book. I don't have the title of it offhand right now, so you're just gonna have to wait for that. But I had last week. Michael, one of our listeners, Michael, he's in the chat room right now, had gotten some of our books that we needed off of Amazon for us. And I put a book on there later, after that I had found that seemed to tie in with the current research and stuff for the new film that I'm working on, the Lost Secrets of Ancient America Part 1. And good God almighty, is this going to be a hell of a film. I've been working all day, all night on it I've got, the cool thing is I was talking about the other day, how still don't have all the footage I need yet, and I still don't. But the good news is that I already have, regardless of all that stuff, even without the script being written yet, and there being no voiceovers yet or anything else, just, footage and the research so far, I still have over 40 minutes of footage that's already cut, edited. It's got text already dropped in. It's already encoded down. So the cool thing is, I've got like 40 minutes that are already without voiceovers, pretty much already done, and that's, I think this film's probably going to be pretty long. I think what I'm going to do, I'm really trying to change the strategy for what I'm going to do. For this film, I really want to do like digital release only on this film, because I think it's going to be at least probably 3 volumes. I've got the amount of info I've got to properly cover this, and to also cover us doing trying to do a rock wall dig and all that stuff. It's going to spread. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like digital delivery stuff, downloads, streaming, that kind of thing, and maybe do like a small quantity, of limited edition DVDs. Do like 50 or 100 or something like that. When those are gone, they're gone, and that'll be it. Not do any more. And then when it's all done, when the whole movie's eventually done, when all 3 parts are done, then I want to do a full release on DVD and release a package that has all 3 discs inside. You see what I mean? Instead of doing 1, 2, 3 and having to come up with all the resources to put out 3 films in a short amount of time, it just makes more sense to do a digital release online, and then when all 3 parts are done, because that's the whole thing, is for the same amount, I'll be able to, for the same amount it would cost me to put out 1 DVD now and do it like I did Zero Right 2 and all that stuff. I would only have to do it once by the time all 3 parts of the movie are done. You see what I mean? It just makes more sense economically to do it that way, and to just do digital release on the parts of the film. I'm planning on trying to get like a streaming server or something where people can get digital downloads, and stuff like that. I want to try and get it on iTunes and Netflix for sure. But today was really kind of a breakthrough day. I got a DVD in the mail that I had ordered off of Amazon that was had some stuff for the film that I needed. And so I was watching it. They were talking a bit about mound stuff. It wasn't really that interesting to me at first. It was okay. They were talking about different stuff. They had a lot of people, kind of legitimate science people in there. It was kind of stuffy. But I was watching it, and then just all of a sudden, out of fucking nowhere, the movie, I don't know how they got to this part, but it's where, and lo and behold, a key piece of information that I didn't have, that I wasn't aware of, came to light, that really sewed together all these things I've been finding in the research from reading the book. And everybody's thanking Michael in the chat room for getting the books. Yeah, thanks again, Michael. To be honest with you, I already have learned new information. I've already gotten some new stuff from these books already. I'm already fucking burning through them. But a lot of what's cool about some of these books, a couple of them that he got for me are going to be ones that, they're relevant to the research I'm doing now, but they're going to do me good for years to come, because they're resource books for when you're actually going out in the field to find these things. And since, I've been trying to do as much as I can for this film, to go out into the field and travel to some of these locations, whatever ones I can make it to, and get footage. It's, those are going to come in handy for years to come. And so they're not just something where, because a lot of times, for this kind of work in these films, your resources that you're using are very transitory. You know what I mean? You're kind of going through resources like you're going through toilet paper. You're going through books and something. It's like you get it. It's got one fucking line in it that you need. I can't tell you. I've had to do that a few times. It sucks. You know, if people come over and they look at your fucking bookshelf and they're like, "Why do you have a fucking Pat Robertson book in your fucking bookshelf over here, Churchy, with the next to the Manly P. Hall?" Hey, fuck off, asshole! I needed one line in there. That's, you know, that's how it is. Because it's like sometimes you have to get these books and it's like, fuck, I need this guy. I gotta get this whole goddamn book. You know, some Pat Robertson book or some. You know, I don't know, some cocksucker right winger book or something. And, you know, just for like, you know, one line where he says something about, you know, I suck Satan's cock for fun, you know, whatever it may be. But yeah, but it's good to actually with this film, as opposed to some of the past couple of stuff I've done. It's good to see that, you know, I'm going to have resources that are going to be sticking around for a while. And the reason I guess I'm so excited about this film more than anything else is that, oh God, man, whew, my mind is fucking blown right now. I can't even tell you. I can't, and I'm not going to tell you. That's the thing. I'm saving all the stuff for the film. I've made that problem. I have that problem in the past. Get up here and giving away too much because it's, you know, I got a radio show and I'm working on a film. You know what I mean? I find out all this fucking badass shit. My natural instinct is going to be to talk about it, you know? But that's how it is when you find out anything new or anything exciting. What's your first impetus? You want to tell somebody, you know? So, yeah, it's definitely difficult for me to hold back and not tell you some of the stuff I've been finding. But, man, oh man. Yeah, it's very exciting. But some of the stuff I found today just kind of tied it all up for me and kind of tied all these different pieces of evidence together. And I also went back and found out some more interesting things about the rock wall as well. Like, well, stuff. Here's the thing. I've been exposed to a lot of this. There's so much information about a rock wall, even though it seems like there's not a lot. But even what there is, it's hard to absorb it all and take it all in. Now, I'm somebody who's very good at memorizing, you know, or just remembering. I don't really try to. It's not an intentional thing. I don't try to do it. It's just how my brain works. But I'm very good at remembering and kind of memorizing, you know, facts and details about stuff. But for a lot of the stuff on the rock wall, it's just there's so much of it, and there's so many confusing and conflicting things that some of the stuff I've had trouble remembering and programming into my brain for later recall. But so I was going back and going over. It's crazy. I do this. It's just kind of the way it works when you're researching. Like, you'll go over stuff. I've gone over pieces of information 10, 20 times and not gotten something from that information until the 20th time I went over it. You understand what I mean? Books. I mean, I've read books and I've read them 4 or 5 times, but then it's not until that like 5th time that I read it and it's in the context of whatever it is that I'm currently in the headspace of. And then boom, it has relevance to you that it didn't have to you before. And that's how a lot of this rock wall information is. I'm going back and listening to stuff and looking at stuff that I've looked at and listened to, you know, a million times. But because the problem was in the past, I was in the head wanting to work on this kind of stuff and be in the headspace of this kind of stuff, but I was still being pulled over here by having to get the Secret Right film done and get that information out because it was important. But this has been pulling at me for so long, and I've had to push it off to the side for so long that now that I've been able to actually dedicate all my energy to this, I can go back, and now I'm going back and reviewing information and research that I've heard 100 times before, and now it's having more relevance to me than it did before. For instance, things like the wall, the rock wall, the rocks, the stones of the rock wall being comprised of 10% titanite. Titanite is a rare earth metal. Who and how whoever built this thing found this much titanite to mix into a 20-mile wall is just, it's insane. And I also found out Dr. Wolf Goss from the University of Texas, who is the guy that did the paleomagnetic survey on the rock wall back in 1999 and won't publish all of his findings until after he's dead. I did find out some of the results that he had told John Lindsay, the architect who did the last dig. I found some of the results that he had told him, and he dated the wall at 55 million years with a paleomagnetic survey. Now, when you look at, I think I've got a picture of this. Let me see if I've got a picture of this. I think I'm trying to find out. I can't remember what the exact number was on when the blue shale was deposited. Trying to find that out. I want to say it was in the millions of years ago, but I can't remember. Anybody know in the chat room? Anybody got an idea? Because that's kind of an important thing as far as when that happened in relation to dating the rock wall, because from what I've looked at, 55 million years. That's staggering, right? Even if that is accurate, that, humans, we weren't even, I don't think we were even close to even crawling out of the fucking muck yet, were we, allegedly? 55 million years ago? But my problem is that from the pictures and from the research and the information that I'm looking at from the last dig that was conducted, I see this thing, and this has been pointed out by other researchers than me, but they've looked into this rock wall thing. But what's take me back is the fact that how much wall there is. We're talking, oh man, we're talking at least another 6 stories, dude. How much wall there is from the point at which that blue shale is deposited. There is, you got another 6 stories down at least. And again, the stones get bigger and bigger the deeper you go. So that's my question here is that, if the paleomagnetic survey says 55 million years, and here's the thing, if he got so freaked out, he wouldn't allow his findings to be published till after he's dead. How do we know that he's telling us, telling us the straight dope here? Hold on a second. Let me get something wonky going on. Yeah, well, I forget the guy's name. There was a guy, a doctor, and I heard somebody on a radio show or something one time talking about this. There was somebody, that surmised. Yeah, you're right. So, Space Bat in the chat room says another race altogether. And yeah, there was somebody that surmised that was, it was some, ancient reptilian race or something like that, probably dinosaur type people. And that's interesting. They came out recently with that story about the reptilian aliens being, God, there used to be this fucking clip of, what was that? What's that guy's name? He looks like the devil. Shepard Smith. Is that his name? There used to be this clip of him that was in this old Alex Jones movie. And he was like, civil libertarians, eat your hearts out. He was like, he'd slowed it down or made him look like he was the devil. And he was like, civil libertarians, eat your heart out. And I saw this news clip, and I'm going to try to slide it in the film somewhere just for shits and giggles. And it's that same cocksucker, Shepard Smith, whatever. That guy just looks like a fucking pig demon. And he's talking about that story that we covered here, I don't know, a month or so ago, that they came out with and said that life on other planets, we found life on other planets will most likely be some sort of reptilian species, intelligent, evolved reptilian species that are like intelligent dinosaurs. And that we should probably, quote, not meet them, avoid meeting them at all costs. And there's Shepard Smith, and he says, scientists said that we should probably avoid meeting them at all costs. sleep tight. And he just looks at the camera and says, sleep tight. Like all evil like. I'm going to slow that fucker down and give him the Satan treatment because it's just too evil, dude. I mean, he looks like a fucking alien standing there. Let me see if I can find that clip and I'll drop it in the chat room for y'all because it's, oh my God, man. It's pure liquid gold, as I like to say. He just looks flat fucking evil. He looks like a pig demon alien standing there telling you that, get ready because the reptilian alien, intelligent, evolved aliens are going to come and eat your heart, eat your soul pretty soon. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can find that for you. I dropped a picture. My chat or my browser or something's being wonky. So that picture that I dropped in the chat room didn't show up for me, which sucks because now I can't verify whether or not that was the picture that I was looking for. And that blows. I don't know. It maybe somebody in the chat room could tell me. Did it show up in there, guys? Yeah, I found it. Oh, God. Jesus fucking Christ. Don't fucking do that to me. You son of a bitch. God damn. Oh, fuck, man. I'm going to have to go wipe now. Thanks. Oh, Jesus Christ. I was going to look for that clip, you asshole. I was going to fucking find that clip, being a nice guy here on the radio, trying to find the clip. And I come back to the chat room. God damn, I see there's a fucking, because the new chat we have puts blow up images, like high res images. And I go back to the chat and I'll be goddamned if they're in Shepard Smith staring at me. Whoa, you scared the shit out of me, man. Whew. You got to be careful with that. That was just bad news. Oh man, that gave me the willies. Somebody delete. You see, that's something I don't like about the chat room. You can't just delete. You have to delete all the messages. You just can't delete one message. I'd like to delete that Shepard Smith picture, please. Thank you. Somebody talk so we can get that fucker out of the queue. I'm tired of looking at his evil ass. Oh man, something is going wonky with the chat tonight for me. There we go. So, did anybody ever tell me? Did the picture that I post up there, did it show up? Anybody? Anybody verify that for me? Because all it says is just image for me. It doesn't show the picture that I dropped. Anyway, whether it did or didn't, my point is that, again, oh, it didn't show. Okay. Well, again, my point is that if the paleomagnetic survey says 55 million years, but the shale was deposited, I don't know when the blue shale was deposited. It's in the millions of years, I know. But that's the problem I have is I think that the blue shale was deposited 500 million, 300 million, but the wall's 55 million. Like I said, you've got a lot of wall, 6 feet of wall, below that. Yeah, it's not working. Hey, am I the only one that did I ask this question last week? If I did, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask it again. Am I the only one that gets asked to update their flash like 50 times a day? Is that a virus? Why do I have to upgrade my flash like every day, literally? Yeah, I don't know. It's not working. How do they come up with these timelines? Well, that's a good question as far as like. Well, I mean, I understand the geology and the dating of it. I understand how they come up with those timelines. Because you can, especially with what is it? The radioisotope, isotope dating, where you can measure the decay of the radioactive isotope. Now, then, I understand that. That's pretty flawless. But as far as the timelines of, okay, Christopher Columbus came to America in this year and all that. I mean, all that's hogwash, man. It's all bullshit. There were all kinds of people from all over the place in the United States long thousands and thousands of years ago, before Sigourney Weaver. There's thousands of years before that. And what's funny is that, again, I'm trying not to give too much away here for the film, and I'm not going to be talking about a lot of this, but I will say this. As I've said, with this film, I haven't tried to go, I haven't been trying to tie this in and really not attempting to tie this in with aliens or Anunnaki stuff per se, though that might lead some people to that conclusion by looking at. But I will say this. I really didn't expect that some of the stuff that's in the Sumerian text would be verified again with this research, but it absolutely is. And I'm talking about DNA evidence. What I got today is DNA evidence that ties in also with the archaeological evidence and the artifact evidence of just who it was that was here all that time ago, where they came from. And it's highly fascinating. Again, it ties right in nicely with the Sumerian text stuff. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on such a rant here tonight. I'm just, I'm in this mode of working on this film, and so it's really consuming what I'm doing right now. And yet again, I'm just finding breakthrough after breakthrough here, and it's changing my whole perception, my whole paradigm. And so I'm really trying to do my best to make sure that the experience that you have in this film reflects that as well. We have our final fundraiser going on this month. We got about $3,000 left that we need to have to complete this film. And it runs till the end of this month. Anybody out there who can help us reach that goal, I'm going to give people anything over $500. You'll get a producer credit in. We'll negotiate other things I can, do. I'll definitely put your name in the film as an associate producer. Contributor and all that stuff. But I need to get out and go get some more footage of some of these places to complete this film, because that's my only burden right now, is not having enough of this stuff. And I got to tell you, it really is, when you get out there, when you actually get out from behind. You can find stuff all day long that you didn't know about, researching and reading and watching films and stuff like that. But when you get out and you go to these sites yourself, and it's great that, somebody went out to the Serpent Mountain, Ohio for us. I really, the stuff that I'm finding out now about that, my God, absolutely insane. And, now I was kind of content with somebody going there for it, but now I'm like, oh man, I want to go see this thing for myself, because it just, you can't get that just researching and reading about this stuff. But I will say this, people have been taken aback by the pictures and the video that I've shown so far from the mounds that I went to. People have been taken aback by the energy just from the pictures in the film and stuff. And it's a very powerful energy. When you're there, it's a very powerful energy. And I wasn't feeling well when we went out to Moundville. And as soon as I got out there, I was like not feeling good all the whole ride. It was like an hour from Birmingham to there. And I was not feeling good the whole way up there. It was like I was going to throw up. I just didn't feel right. And then, boom, I got to Moundville, and I was like, I was rip roaring and ready to go. And then as soon as we started leaving town again, I started feeling bad again. It was strange, but there was definitely an energy change there in Moundville where I went, and it was definitely, you know, well, the one thing that you never come across that never really no one ever addresses with these mounds, and they just tell us, you know, on the one hand they told us, oh, the Indians were savages, they had nothing worth preserving, they had no intellectual ability at all, but then turned around and said, oh, but by the way, they did build all these mounds. But nobody ever really gets into how long it would take to make one of these things, because they tell us that it was done by the bushelful, by hand, one thing of dirt at a time. And they said Moundville was constructed over the course of 500 years. And the giant mound there was built for the chief. And I'm sitting there going, well, if you're building this giant mound for the chief to live in, and it takes 500 years to build them, how the fuck is that chief going to be around to enjoy that in 500 years? What do they know? We don't know. Were these chiefs immortals? Were they, were they part God? I mean, what? It makes you wonder. Because that kind of, attention to detail and that kind of, taking that long, I just don't believe that I don't believe they were built that way. I don't believe they were built bushel full of dirt by the bushel full of dirt, hand dug and dumped over the course. They make us believe that, they give us this image of Indians with buckets full of dirt, oh, how, me chief Sitting Bull, how, me carry dirt, make mound, That's the image they give us. But then what I found too is then you've got this whole section of people that know that and know that there was lying going on and about the Native Americans being intellectually devoid and all this stuff. But then those people go too far to the extreme as well, because then they start to give all of the credit to the Native Americans for their language and their technological expertise and their mathematical knowledge and their astronomy knowledge. And then they say, oh, no, the government was wrong. They're not an intellectual devoid people. See, the Indian had all this. Well, yeah, but where did they get it from? They got it from somewhere, and there's absolute proof of it, that they got it from people and cultures that came from other parts of the world. And that's what's so fascinating about this it's just like every other topic. It's just kind of like the secret rights stuff. You think the truth movement's telling you the truth, but then you find out they're working for the same people that they claim to be against and claim to be exposing. Well, you kind of got the same thing here. You've got people who are researching in the same kind of avenues that I've been researching for this film. And there are people that have out there who have been doing that for a great amount of years, but they're not getting it either. You see, they're missing something because they're looking at something from their particular view. What's great about you and I, those out here that are doing our own research on this, there's been a lot of people out there doing research on this while I am, And what's interesting about this is that, us, because we've come from so many other different topics and backgrounds already, that we've got a different frame of reference than somebody that, is just staunch on this, trying to prove that the Native Americans were done wrong. And it doesn't take much to prove that. That's obvious. But I think it's just as blind as to say, it's just as blind as saying the Indians were idiots and they were savages and they were worth exterminating. I think it's just as short-sighted as saying that, to say that they were responsible for, to say that, because there's no proof, no evidence they built all these mounds. They didn't build the mounds. Native Americans, as we know it, were not the mound builders. And again, prior to Thomas Jefferson, the widely held scientific belief was that a different Native American culture than the Native Americans, what we know as the Indians, who were referred to as the mound builders, built these, and they left their mark all over the place. But the best indicator here that we're seeing is that whoever these people were, and I know everybody's quick to jump on the alien thing. And again, I'm not really per se going to be going there with that in this film because I won't really have to. That information will present itself to you without me having to say, be like Ancient Aliens. And what else could it be? The only thing that could be is aliens. Like Supocalypse with my hair standing up or something. I'm not going to be doing that kind of stuff. Because they're, that's coming to conclusions for people. And you can come to a conclusion on your own if I just present to you the facts. And the facts are, ladies and gentlemen, that there were ancient, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to give you all the details, and I'm not going to go any far into it. But I'm even going to say this. People from the Middle East were in the United States at least 50,000 years ago. DNA evidence, baby. Bringing it on home. Get ready. Lock, cock, ready to rock. When I drop this film, motherfuckers are going to be shocked. How's that for a rhyme? Oh, yeah. And serious on this motherfucker. Woo! Now we know why they want to keep all this covered up. Yeah. See, everybody's all well and fine with, the white man stole the Indians' land and that whole meme. But what if there was somebody else? What if there was another tribe that could still lay claim to this land? That would make the world stage pretty interesting, wouldn't it? Well, stay tuned, kids, because it's going to be fun. All right. Let's see what we have here. Let me see if I have any emails real quick. I think I had a couple of questions I needed to answer. Yeah, I did. I want to read this one. This is a good one. This is I'm not going to give his last name, but I never give people's last names. This is from Phil. Phil says, "Dear Josh, I saw a couple of your videos online yesterday after by chance having after a by chance experience with a DMT trip." Well, certainly don't get too many emails that start off like that. Hey Josh, I just saw a couple of videos after I got done tripping on DMT. Oh, only the finest for you, sir. Indeed. My goodness gracious. Boy, you are only the finest, right? I mean, you're going for the top shelf. I think I'll do a little DMT. And then after I get done doing a little DMT, I'm going to watch some Global Reality. Here we go. Well, that's awesome. That's that's really rad. You got any? No, I'm kidding. No, I'm joking. Please don't send me DMT. I don't want it. I've got it. We all do. We're all holding. It's in our pineal glands. Oh my goodness. The experience itself was beyond anything I have ever imagined. To go into detail would be impossible. But I can best summarize it as ageo data, a connection with the cosmos and a coming home. Unlike any other drug, DMT did not leave me with an empty feeling, but sparked something in me. I feel replenished, reassured by knowing what lies beyond the surface, and I really see it as a gift. Every time I dwell on the experience mentality, I am overwhelmed by joy. Nevertheless, I have a few questions that you might be able to answer. How should I move on? What is the purpose of being blinded from this other reality? And will the next evolutionary step of humankind include a shift in consciousness in that direction? It's possible. It's quite possible. How should you move on? Well, that's not really a question that I can answer for you, Phil. It's not really something that I can define. That's going to be up to you to define how you move on from there, because Phil, I don't know you. You're the only one that knows you and your life experience and your worldview and what you've experienced in your life and what you've gone through and everything else. So, the best way that I think is to just, once for me, it was finding out, once I knew it was all this was an illusion, and once I knew that all of this was there to keep us blinded from the real truth, because the real truth, and you asked to answer your second question there, the purpose of being blinded from this other reality is because if all of us had that experience that you described, we would no longer fear death. So the mechanisms of fear that drive us to keep this society working by, what makes everybody get up every day and go to work? Everybody, millions of people all around the world all at the same time, every day, getting up, starting their day, going to work, going to a job, repeat, rinse, wash, cycle, do it again, every single day, no fail. Fear. Fear of not having enough, fear of not having food, fear of not having water, fear of not having shelter, fear of not being able to take care of your family. But if everyone simultaneously knew that all of this was a lie and this was a facade and death was nothing to fear because it was a transition into another realm, their power structure would be over tomorrow, Bubba. Because people would no longer walk through life in fear of the unknown and in fear of what would happen to them if they just decided to one day say, fuck it. You want to talk about bringing the system down overnight? If everybody just decided for one day not to go to work, we'd have a revolution by morning. That's a fact. Now, how you should move on from this is, I think you should, now that you know what you know and you've seen what you've seen, Phil, you're unstoppable, buddy. How should you move on? What should you do? You should do whatever you want to do. Get out there and live it, man. Go for it. Grab it. Do something crazy. Because in the end, no matter what happens to you and what happens to your physical body, you're going to be okay. But if you really wanted to ask me that question, you really wanted to get my piece of advice, how should I move on? What should you do next? I would say that it's your job now, Phil, to make other people see what you see. That's what you should do. That's how you should move on. Tell people about your experience. Show them ways. I'm not saying start selling DMT and, handing out DMT to school children or anything. By God, I mean, for fuck's sake, don't do that. But what I mean is that, once I was unplugged from the Matrix, my natural impetus was to start unplugging other people from the Matrix. And I just think you've got to find a way to do that, however you can, in your own way, using whatever talent you have. Will the next evolutionary step of humankind include a shift in consciousness in that direction? God, I hope so. But it's one of those things where the knowledge of not knowing what's on the other side, not knowing about these other spiritual realities and knowing about these other realities that exist all around us in these other dimensions all the time, and being told that doesn't exist, and after death it's nothing, and you're just a meat suit, and fuck it, and don't worry about it anyway. If everybody had an opportunity to know that that's not the illusion, that this is the illusion, Because it's true, yeah, like you said, it's true reality. I mean, that's what it is. So there you go, Phil. I hope that helped you, man, and wish you all the best in your future adventures. Definitely stay in touch, and please support our work at the website if you can. If you're a new listener, thanks so much. I don't think this is the same person. Well, this person's name's Philip, so no, this isn't the same person. He says, "Hey, brother, I was listening to your latest archive show and was wondering if you have been to the Spiro Mounds of Oklahoma." No, I was just talking about in the chat room earlier. I went right near there with a buddy last year. I took a road trip with on a weekend, and we went right past there. I didn't realize that's where I wasn't really researching this then. I was still doing the Secret Right 2 thing. And I ordered a book like a month ago, and the fuckers still haven't sent it to me. I'm getting pissed. I'm about to tell them I want my money back. But I had ordered this book, and it was called The Looting of the Spiro Mounds, an American King Tut. But no, I haven't been there, but it's only like a 4-hour drive for me. So hopefully I can get up there sometime the next month or so. If not, since I'm hoping to go there sometime in the next few months, if not sooner, yeah. If you're gonna go, if you're gonna go, I mean, I need that footage. Shit, I'm gonna need it. I really technically need to have all the footage in by June 1st, but I can probably go a couple weeks into June. That'd be about it. Because whatever I end up getting, it's up in the air whether or not I'm gonna even be able to go anywhere else. Because I don't have a budget. Until we get what we need for our budget, I won't be able to do that. But yeah, I mean, if you can get there in the next 2-3 weeks or month, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, if you can get some HD footage, that'd be really good. The Spiro Mounds were the center of all the Mississippi and Central North American Indian culture. They have lots of art there too. At least that wasn't looted, which you might like footage of too. Yeah, make sure if you ever go to any of these sites, definitely always go into the museums and whatever they have there. Even though they never have any of the real art, the real artifact, or a lot of the real. Well, they have some, but none of these sites you go to have the majority of the artifacts that were found at the sites. 30,000 artifacts found in Moundville. They had a couple of bowls. They had a couple of pipes. They had a couple of tools and instruments. Over 30,000 artifacts were excavated from Moundville, Alabama by the Smithsonian Institution. And, they don't even bother giving the goddamn place, I mean, at least you think these government fucks could do is give some of these artifacts. But again, these artifacts have symbology and writing and style of writing and different things that fuck with their timeline and their control structure. That's another fucked up thing about this whole thing, this whole research. Goddamn it, Joseph Smith might have been right after all. I kid you not, dude. I'm like some of this shit kind of does prove what the fucking Mormons have been saying for a long time. It's freaky. I never thought I'd be. I didn't expect to come across that. But yeah, Philip, that'd be awesome if you could get out there to Spiro Mounds for us. Any mounds. I mean, anybody out there, man. We really need some. I need Cahokia footage, or how do you say that? Cahokia. I think somebody's going to Cahokia for us still. Anything in Michigan, anything in Wisconsin, the Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Georgia, Virginia. I mean, they're all over the place, man. But any footage out there that we can get is from the listeners out there that can go out and get footage for us. Please do so, because I would feasibly like to have. It's just more footage I can get, the better the film's going to be. Like I said, that's really what it boils down to. Trying to see how long this was. Jamie had dropped a link in the chat room earlier, and I had read this, but there was a tie-in to the mounds. I'd heard about this about a year or so ago, I think, a couple of years ago, about this crystal vortex opening up under under Arkansas, and somehow, this is actually about a year ago I'd heard about this, because they were saying that somehow this was tied to the bird die-off in Arkansas and the fish die-off there and earthquakes and stuff like that. But I was talking earlier about the rock wall and about the components of the rocks. 10% titanite, a rare earth metal. I can't remember all the other different precious metals and stones they were made out of. I mean, all kinds of, but the crystals that buttered the stones, they made a geopolymer. Someone had made a geopolymer made out of 3 different types of crystals. And some of the crystals that were used, the types of crystals that were used in the rock wall makeup of these stones, have only ever been found in 2 places, Peru and in Arkansas. So it's pretty clear that, this ties in definitely with the rock wall. Whoever had constructed that mined crystals allegedly from the same place that Atlantis mined crystals from. But this says Arkansas emerging crystal portal. In November of 2001, I attended a cryon channel in New England. What the fuck is a cryon channel? Is this some like freaky new age shit or something? Man, what's up with this hot topic new age thing that's going on right now? You guys notice this? Joe Rogan and Pinchbeck and Alex Gray. You know what? I knew what team Alex Gray was playing on a couple of years. Everybody always, Alex Gray, yeah, does all the tool art. Oh, he's so awesome. Esoteric and acid trip. Oh, yeah. And I used to think that too. Till I saw that goddamn Obama fucking thing that he did. And I went, dude, I know you have revealed yourself to me now. As soon as I saw that and I saw Alex Gray did, I wrote that motherfucker. I knew then. I was like, I get it now. Now you're trying to associate Obama. I knew he was some kind of snake in the grass op or something at that point. But what the fuck is a cryon channel? I attended my first cryon channel. I'm sorry. I'm into weird shit too, man. But good God, some of this stuff is just it's just off the charts. I don't know if I can read. I want to read this though, but it just sounds fruity. This was some kind of a channeling session. Okay, I get it. All right, I get where you're coming from. Somebody was channeling something. Okay, I'm clear. In the course of the channel, Cryon gave me a precisely dated timeline of Atlantis and then added that indisputable evidence of Atlantis existing in Arkansas. It's possible that it existed throughout, the whole continent of the United States as we know it, and even down into the Gulf that, from and into the Atlantic for lands that are sunk under the water now. That's another thing I'm starting to find too, is it seems that like the continents were interconnected together, not as far back in antiquity as they've told us. I mean, I can continue to see little tidbits of that in research, and some of our researchers and listeners out there do as well. Synchronicity noted, I had been experiencing tugs to a little global exploring in my home state for weeks prior to the Cryon channel. Cryon's bidding provoked mental exploration of where the Atlanteans would have left evidence in Arkansas. Well, that's pretty interesting. That is pretty interesting. She came to this information in channeling because that lines up with stuff that I've researched in the real world, I haven't channeled from anybody. Again, yeah, the types of crystals, specific types of crystals that were used in the geopolymers of the rock wall, a lot of them came, for a fact, they know they came from Arkansas. So yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. So that's kind of interesting, you couldn't think that she'd make this up, because I wouldn't think that would be something this person knows unless they were coincidentally researching the rock wall too. The first thing that came to my mind was diamonds and quartz. Atlantis used them. Arkansas has them. As I began examining possible areas of Atlantean mining, a prolific juxtaposition occurred. I contacted several light workers about the subject and soon learned that many Earth keepers had been recently receiving intuitive tugs regarding Arkansas. The referred serendipity became quite poignant, and I became keenly aware that Arkansas's unique geology would play a major role in the ascension of the planet. I located my Suburban and made the 8-hour drive to Arkansas's Ouachita Mountains on a sunny Thursday. The drive was pleasant, and I drove uneventfully along the flat expanse of Texas Highway 59, and I crossed through Texarkana into the rolling green hills of the Ouachitas. The energy became discernibly softer. My destination was Crater of Diamond State Park. I've been there. Used to go there and dig diamonds when I was a kid with my grandparents. I spent the night in Magnolia and drove onward to the Diamond Mine State Park. As soon as I step down of the car, I feel the pull of the crater. The heady perfume of gardenias. Oh, this is crap. I can't read this. You know what? This actually got some good information in it. And she's talking about these different mines being, or these different mounds associating with this crystal vortex and opening up and creating this energy grid. And it's really fascinating stuff. But man, it's just crap for me. I just sit here and try to read this fucking flowery bullshit story of, oh, I was overcome by the smell of the gardenias when I entered the garden. I mean, come on. Give me the meat. I don't want to have to dig through 8 pounds of, you ever get a hamburger and there's like a goddamn, like, motherfucker, if I wanted a salad, I would order a salad. Give me the meat and the cheese and the schmegma, the fat and the gravy. You know what I mean? Toss those pickles and onions and all that fucking horse shit off to the side. Just give me the fucking meat. Anyway, yeah, you know, you should look at it at your own leisure, and I'll drop a link to it in the chat. But sorry, just couldn't bring myself to do that tonight. We are going to take a break, come back, and get into the news, and then into our series of reading tonight. My website where this broadcast originates from is theglobalreality.com. It's theglobalreality.com. And we have chipping banners up there to support us for the month, for the bills, for the films, everything else. P.O. Box up there if you can't use PayPal. We have an Amazon wish list with stuff. By the way, if you're out there, if somebody out there needs a camera, or you're looking to maybe get a high-def camera so you can go out and shoot some of these mounds or something like that. I got a new one last year with the help of one of our listeners. And it was like, I mean, it was pretty expensive. It was like over $1,000. And that was like, I don't know, September last year or something like that. And I'll be goddamned if those cameras aren't already like dirt cheap. You can already get them for like $400. I'm not kidding. And when I saw that, well, it says on Amazon, there's 9 new and used. And if you go under the used button, there's actually some in there that say they're new and unopened. And they have them for as low as $388. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's some various footage I've shot from a couple of concerts there, and some of the stuff from the new film. Some of the footage from the new film of the mounds is in my new Reality of Illusion series film, The Secrets of the Sun. But if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see like the first, I don't know, 10 videos or 8 videos. I don't know however many it is. And they all have footage shot with that camera. It's a fantastic little camera, tiny little thing. You wouldn't think something that small is as powerful. But anyway, if you're looking for a camera to go out and shoot, they have these for as low as $388. And it was over $1,000 for mine last year. And that's just a steal. I mean, I wish I had the money to get like 2 more of them. So I'd have 3 and I could set up multiple shoots, multiple camera shoots and stuff for the filmmaking, just make it that much better. But man, definitely it's, I'll give you the number. It's a Sony HDR CX360V high definition camcorder, HDR CX360V. On Amazon. And yeah, because I had some people that were going to go out and shoot mounds for us, and they have camera phones, stuff like that. And I know money's tight, but man, I got to tell you that that's a hell of a good deal on that camera, and just the experience I've had using it. I mean, you can I shoot in 24 frames a second, movie frame, so it looks like a movie in 1080. And then pull it into the Mac. It's to die for. So I just wanted to pass that along in case anybody out there wanted to pick up a really good camera. I mean, it's documentary quality all day. I wish I had 2 or 3 more of them, to be honest with you. I mean, $388 a piece or something. That's a steal of a deal. But anyway, wanted to pass it on. We're going to take a break, come back, get into the news, and we're also going to be starting a new series of reading for you here tonight. And I knew this was the right book to read. When I turned to page 2, and page 2 of this book referenced the rock wall, I was like, yeah. All right, back here with you on the Global Reality, right here on the Global Reality Radio Network with me, your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being with us here for another late night Moonbat edition of the broadcast. We've got news, not a lot of news. It's going to be a short amount tonight. It won't take me very long to get through all this stuff at all. And then we're going to get into a new series of reading tonight that ties in with the current film that I'm working on, The Lost Secrets of Ancient America, Volume 1. And up at my website, theglobalreality.com, we have 2 chip-in banners on the right-hand side of the page there, where it says fundraiser, underneath where it says give your support. And one is for the bills for the month. Our goal this week is $300 for the week. We have the stream bill coming up due this week, so we have to get that paid. So just $300 for the week is what we're looking for here. So please help us out if you can. We had almost 100 new likes in the past week on Facebook. Boy, if every one of those people gave $2, think about that, So there you go. And we also have one there below that for the film budget. And we have about $3,000 to go left on that. Any help we can get on that would be fantastic. Now that I've really got all the research, everything tied together, I really just need to have the rest of the budget to acquire the rest of the footage that I need. So if I don't get that, I'm going to be able to have a hard time finishing the film. So just help us out there if you can. I have faith in all of you that we'll get this done. I don't know why. I feel that right now. I think it's just because, I don't know, man, the energy from this film, I really just feel like something like the universe, something is saying yes. Yeah. Instead of, a lot of times the universe says, no, sorry, door closed. No. I think the universe is saying yes on this one because this is stuff we need to know about. Period, point blank. We've been lied to, folks. And we haven't just been lied to about 9/11 and JFK and whether or not UFOs crashed at Roswell. For years, that's what we were all worried about, wasn't it? That was the lie. Oh, we've been lied to this. We've been lied to that. 9/11, JFK, Roswell. Well, it's way bigger, way bigger, way older, way deeper, and way crazier than any of those things. I never thought I'd be here. I mean, I've talked about it before, but that's one of the best things about doing this. And again, this is what I've chosen to do with my life. This is my job. I don't have a paycheck waiting at the end of the week like everybody else's, but I put in the work at this 7 days a week. I just want to make sure and stress that to people, let people know, because I've had listeners that send me emails. Hey, point that out. People know this is not your hobby. This is not what you do on the weekend. This is your life. This is your job. This is what you do. And that's the truth. And I guess maybe I haven't made that clear and apparent to enough people. And we get so many new listeners all the time. I operate, my whole world exists on the support of people that believe in what I do. And it's unbelievable. I'm really excited with the help of all of you out there that we're going to be able to. I mean, when this film is done and once we get the first volume out there, and then we start working on trying to pull together the resources to get a dig going. And I have no doubt that's going to happen either. It just feels, I just know it is. It's just one of those things I don't have to even worry about. I just know it's going to happen. The amount of people I've already had that have volunteered their time and worked for this is just incredible. So, ain't nothing to it but to do it, like they say. But I'm really excited that all of you out there who are helped making this possible are going to be able to, have your name on something and have your support on something that is going to advance truth in a large way. And it's, without giving you all the minutia and the details and ruining the whole film for you, which I don't want to do. I want there to be some surprises. I want you to be legitimately surprised at some of the information in this film and the connections that I've made here and the stuff that I've pulled the resources from, pulling from so many different places. And so, I'm not going to try to get you to support the film by telling you all the details of it. But we'll tell you this, you're going to have a hand in significantly furthering the truth. And I think that at the end of the day, there's not many people you can give your support to that can give you that promise for sure, but I can't with this. I today heard that Ron Paul, I saw it in the media, Ron Paul dropping out of the presidential race. And immediately, I went and was reading the article, and it said, we're not going to go for states where they've already voted, and it won't matter. And we, short of having tens of millions of dollars to continue, we can't continue at that level. Blah blah blah. And I read that, and I went, they're going to do what they did last time around the Ron Paul campaign. And last time around, I had just started my radio show. I had just found out about the CMP in 2007. I was coming out of being in that truth movement, Alex Jones, drinking the Kool-Aid, the whole thing. And, but when they did the Ron Paul thing where, we're scaling back the campaign and all this stuff, and the media reported on it, everybody and their mother was saying it was a conspiracy theory. It was a conspiracy. Oh, the media, they're claiming Ron Paul has stopped his campaign when he hasn't. And I kind of smelled like an op to me at the time when that happened. It kind of seemed like bullshit, and then, a couple weeks later, we're running an educational campaign. I went, there it is. Yeah. People didn't give him all that money for him to run an educational campaign. They gave him all that money to win. Same time, the thing gets this go around. I told everybody he's going to do the same crap he did last time. And I thought, sure enough, today when I read that article, I said, I guarantee you these patriotards are already starting the conspiracy there. And I went and looked, and sure enough, man, didn't have to look for very long. Already articles on every mainstream truther site about mass media says Ron Paul drops out when he does. I mean, the guy doesn't have the delegates. Romney is all but assured here. But again, they're trying to use that as a wedge. It's just a wedge issue. It's just completely hilarious to me. But, I told everybody from Jump Street that's what was going to happen. People still feel the need to give the guy millions of dollars that he's going to turn around and say, now we're running an educational campaign. We're just going to go out there and try to talk to people about freedom and liberty now with your millions of dollars. Thank you. Now all my family can have nice vacations this fall while you're all crying when Obama gets a second term. That's what he's going to be doing, with all your money. I mean, it just blows me away. I'm sitting over here on a fucking keg of dynamite that's going to blow hundreds of years, thousands of years of bullshit and programming and the lies of history wide open. And with a few $1,000s, we could further truth farther than the millions of dollars that have been pumped into that goddamn Ron Paul campaign and been pumped into Alex Jones' operation. So when you do the math, it seems like it's a pretty fair pretty fair investment to make a donation and support what I'm doing. That's all I have to say about that. So thank you. Let's and fuck Ron Paul. Thank you very much. Throw that in there. Oh man. Oh, no surprise here, right? In Egypt, turmoil. Thieves hunt pharaonic treasures. Yeah, they're raping and pillaging. Here comes those pesky looters again. You know, man, those looters who have a keen eye for antiquity. Man, those random thieves that know what year and what dynasty a certain artifact came from, and these guys. Tell you, they just sit around in the darkness and in the wings. That's what the media makes us believe. There is this ring of thieves in Egypt and in Iran and in Iraq and anywhere else where they happen to have antiquities that pertain to Middle Eastern culture, Samaria, Syria, Babylon, the Aryans in Iran, any of that stuff. And there's these pesky thieves who spend all of their time. This is the media's perception of it and how they present it to us, by the way. Not even kidding. This is what they do if you read the articles or hear the ones I read here on the show. There's these thieves in all these places where there happens to be tons of ancient artifacts, right? And what they do is they spend all of their time all day long researching ancient artifacts. And every time there's civil war or upheaval or anything else, these guys always take the opportunity to bust into museums and bust into, wherever they're holding artifacts, state houses and stuff, and steal artifacts that always end up being artifacts that would be very, very important to the elite priest class that run the planet. So here they are again, those pesky thieves, always taking advantage and always seem to get artifacts that seem to end up, in either in Rome or in the United States, one or the other, or in Israel. Taking advantage of Egypt's political upheaval, thieves have gone on a treasure hunt with a spree of illegal digging, preying on the country's ancient pharaonic heritage. Illegal digs near ancient temple sites and in isolated desert sites have swelled a staggering 100-fold over the past 16 months. Since a popular uprising toppled Hosseini Mubarak's 29-year regime and security fell apart in many areas as police simply stopped doing their jobs. The pillaging comes on top of a wave of break-ins last year. And fucking, who's up there in front? All of Azahi Hawass. Oh, you're fighting me. You're fighting me. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're fighting me. Fuck you. I go and get the antiquities. The antiquities can't live without me and I can't live without them. Fuck you. I'm Hawass. I in charge of antiquities. Oh, cocksucker. He came here a couple of years ago. Came to Dallas a couple of years ago. He came to SMU and gave a speech. 2009, I think it was. There's George and Laura Bush up there. Oh, he's so great. Right up at the front. I'm like, yeah. You priest class cocksuckers all hang out and run in the same circles, don't you? The fuck is George and Laura Bush there, all interested in hearing Hawass talk about Egyptian art because they want to hear about their goddamn bloodline family members. That's why. So pesky looters at it again. Those bastards, they sit around and just... But these guys are... that's the narrative that the media spins. The fact of the reality is these guys are paid bagmen, essentially. It's like a bounty. It's a bounty hunt. They're bounty hunters, essentially. These guys at the tip top have bagmen and henchmen at the lower level who they say, this is what I need. Those people at the low level, the bagmen say, okay, let me see what I can do. They're given, an unlimited check, essentially. Whatever resources it takes, whatever means necessary to get those artifacts for whoever this fat cat is that's putting up the money. So they start sloshing some money around, and next thing you know, they find some thieves that know where this stuff is located and are willing to do it for a price, and they go and do it. It's not the fact that these artifacts are stolen. It's not the story. That's what they always try to make it. It's who is actually doing the stealing and where they're going to and in whose possession they become in the hands of, and what are the people who are gaining possession of these artifacts doing, learning, and gaining from the objects while they're in their possessions, because a lot of them, they come up, they reappear later. A lot of the ones that were jacked from the Iraq National Museum wound up, coincidentally, they wound up in Rome randomly. Oh, what were they doing in Rome? Well, I don't know. Surely nobody at the Vatican was interested in those things. Nah, they wouldn't be interested in any of that. But oftentimes they do. They do resurface. There were a bunch of like Sumerian cylinder seals and clay tablets from the Assyrian Empire and shit that were just found randomly on the side of the road or something in North Carolina. Somebody just dumped them there. And so, yeah, indeed, a lot of them actually do end up being recovered. But that's still not the story. The story is whose possession are they in? Because it's like they get these things, they get their hands on them, they get the information that's in them, and then that's all they need. They're done. But how far has the agenda been advanced during that time? See, that's what the media doesn't give us. That's what the story that we can't seem to get our hands on. But it's no question, man. I've talked to people. I've talked to guys who have been there, dude, who have been over there in the Middle East, who have seen things. And a lot of them have told me that I am right on the money as far as what I talk about when it comes to these antiquities. And yes, they are absolutely all about it. But that's a real story, and whose hands are these things going to be, and how far is the agenda advanced every time they have their hands on one of these things for a period of time? It's a thing we really can't measure or know, but I think it's a question that warrants asking nonetheless. Meteorites from big fireball spark gold rush. I want to say, I had recently put out that film, the Reality Evolution series new mini-film, The Secrets of the Sun. And one of the things that I addressed in there is the, what's going on with the sun and all these solar anomalies and, all these just various things they're going on with the sun. And several years ago I had heard about this thing called the Nemesis. And from what I heard, people were saying that they were kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater and saying that Nemesis and Nibiru were the same thing. So as soon as I heard that, I didn't look into the Nemesis thing at all. I just said, oh, well, if they're saying it's the Nibiru thing, it's crap. Because, again, as I read, if you go back and listen to the Zachariah Sitchin stuff that I read, he contradicts himself all through there. Because when he's reading the Sumerian text, he basically says that Nibiru is associated with Marduk, and that it's associated with Marduk, and Marduk being Ra, and Marduk being Thoth, and Quetzalcoatl, and Jesus, and Onaz, and all this stuff, and having to do with the return. And so he'll read some of the Sumerian text stuff where it basically makes it sound like it's a planet, like it's this Death Star spaceship thing. But then Sitchin goes back and makes sure at every turn that he tells you that it's, some kind of planet, and the planet's going to come back and cause all these effects and stuff. And so I didn't ever really look into this Nemesis thing, and I recently was looking into that again. And something very interesting about that kind of struck me because, they've had measurable data on this Nemesis thing. Supposedly this brown dwarf. We've talked about it many times here. Most planetary systems, star systems, are binary or even a triple star system, and ours is a single star system, and that's not the norm. And supposedly there's this thing called Nemesis that orbits on the other side of our sun where we can't see it, and periodically when it starts to become close to the Earth, it starts to disrupt a field of comets and asteroids, and it starts to propel them towards Earth. Now, we've seen mass amounts. The fireballs have increased over the past several years tenfold. I'm starting to think that what people have been, again, red herring, Nibiru, I mean, I've just seen it as a red herring for so many things, and it seems it's a red herring again. I mean, you've seen those pictures that people have taken where there appears to be two suns, two black like spots in the sky. People are like, "Oh, that's Nibiru," But then, Nibiru didn't come where we could see it like we were supposed to already be here where we could see it by now, right? I mean, it hasn't shown up. But yet you can see this black dot that appears sometimes in pictures. It looks like there's two suns. And that's what I think that is. I'm starting to think there is something to this Nemesis thing, this brown dwarf. And that's why we're seeing this crazy, intense solar events that we're seeing now, and why we're being bombarded with rocks, why they're talking about, creating all this technology to destroy asteroids and meteors. Hell, we had one come by. I mean, they never tell us this in advance. They never tell us, oh, by the way, an asteroid is going to come real close to the Earth, dangerously so close it could hit us. It happens all the time. They never tell anybody. An asteroid the size of a school bus gave Earth a close shave yesterday, passing well inside the orbit of the moon, but our planet was never in danger of being hit. The near-Earth asteroid 2012 JU, which is thought to be about 40 feet wide, came within 119,000 miles of our planet or so before zooming off into deep space. But they never tell you, there's an asteroid coming very close to Earth. They never tell you that in advance. That's the whole thing. They're not going to give you any warning when the shit goes down, folks. Everybody thinks that, that's the way the Patriot movement, the True movement tries to make it out, Oh, don't worry, just be prepared. And then one day they'll tell you and let you know when the shit's going down. It's not going to happen like that. Sorry. These guys aren't going to give you any warning. That movie Knowing with Nicolas Cage was about as accurate as I think I've ever seen it portrayed in a movie. The Earth's like, hours, literally, maybe not even that long away from being totally destroyed, vaporized. And that's when they decide to come on to you. By the way, go ahead and plant your legs firmly between, your head firmly between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye. Don't bother going to a cave. We're all going to be vaporized in a couple hours. Have fun. They didn't depict the fucking in the streets. It would have been really going on in reality, though. It was the only thing that was fake about that movie. There would have been fucking in the streets for sure. 2 hours to live? Fuck it. Come here. Let's see what else we have. Ring of Fire solar eclipse occurs May 20th. Sky watchers in Eastern Asia and the Western United States should circle Sunday, May 20th on their calendars. That's when a solar eclipse will block out most of the sun, leaving a spectacular ring of fire shining in the sky for observers located along the eclipse path. Wow. So this Sunday, May 20th, the Ring of Fire. That's I just thought about this. That'll be 1 year to the day since my dad passed away. Can't believe it's already been a year. Man. But I still feel him here with me every day. It's crazy. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe it's, maybe I need to be put in a home or something. I don't know. But yeah, I do. I still feel him here every day around me every day. I think my dad was like Obi-Wan Kenobi, He had to die so that he could, be around everybody that he loved at any time. That's the kind of guy he was. Yeah, I just kind of thought about that. Let's see what else we got here. TSA agents conduct full Monty pat down on Henry Kissinger. Oh, well, shit. He liked it. Oh, well, make sure you get to my butt cracks. Oh, it's so good. Oh, yeah. Henry Kissinger, the only guy that the TSA's ever had to say, you know what? That's cool. Go ahead and go through. You're enjoying this a little too much. I wonder if he checked his bag that had his stem cell lotion in it Stem cell smoothie lotion. Oh man, could you? Oh, well, that would be just that's ultimate karma to me though for these TSA agents. That would be the fucking worst nightmare if you ever had to take that shit job, wouldn't it? God damn, I'd have quit on the spot. Not even shitting you. If I'd have been the guy standing in line when Heinz Kissinger rolled through and they told me I would have had to grab his junk, I would have said, you know what? Fuck it, dude. This is my last day. I'm quitting right now. You grab his junk, motherfucker. I'm out. Peace. No, fuck you. Call a manager in here, motherfucker. Call a supervisor in here. I'm not touching Heinz Kissinger's archaic junk. Considering that Heinz, did you don't remember that? Oh, Heinz was famous for liking the little boys. Oh, yeah. In fact, there was a woman who confronted him back in the 80s and outed him as a queer in front of his wife. Straight up in an airport. Came up to Heinz and yelled at him in front of his wife about, and he didn't deny it either. Didn't deny it at all. She had all these intimate details about little boys he had fucked. And just came and spilled it out. And I think they fucked her up or did something to her. I can't remember. Mystery of skulls buried in Florida backyard, which date from 1200 AD and were of South American descent. Oh, snap. Oh, what? Well. When it rains, it pours, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Look what just dropped on our plate. Right on time with all the research. Oh, there weren't Incan or Mayan type people in the United States. You're crazy to believe that. Well, they were here first. They're trying to say these were South Americans. I don't necessarily think these were South Americans. They were here first. The migration went north to south. The mounds and all those structures in the United States, those are old structures. Way older. Thousands of years older than they tell us. They were built before the time of the Great Flood to withstand floods. It goes like this. The American mounds, the United States, that was first. Then after that, you had your South American building structures like you see in Peru and the Aztec stuff. Then after that is when you have your pyramid building in Egypt. Not at the same time they told us. But this is an interesting story here. Skulls found buried in a Florida backyard have been dated to 1200 to 1400 AD, authorities said today. The skulls of a man and a 10-year-old boy were believed to be from Peru or another region of South America almost 900 years ago. Bet you $1. Bet you $1. If somebody does DNA testing on these, they're going to find out that, number one, they're much older than that. And number two, much older, these people have a lineage that may not indicate they actually were from South America. The bones were found at a home in Winter Garden, Florida, in January when a plumber working on a new swimming pool came across a bone fragment and called the police. Medical examiner Jan Garavilga discovered human tissue still within the bone, causing concern that it could be a child who had died recently and been buried illegally. Along with the skulls were fragments of pottery and a newspaper page from 1978. Well, that's odd. That seems like, well, if there was a newspaper page in there with fragments of pottery from 1978, that would probably indicate that either somewhere from 1978 on, around that time, somebody buried those there because they didn't want somebody to find them. That's what that sounds like. You know, because there wouldn't be a newspaper in there from 1978 if that wasn't the case. Somebody probably dug these up, got scared because they knew, I mean, anytime anybody finds any of these discoveries of anomalous skeletons, they disappear. Poof and be gone. Straight to the Smithsonian. Scientists discovered an Inca bone, which gave a clue to their origin, with Florida believed to be the second burial site. The human tissue on the cheek of the skull had been mummified. So this is we're talking about mummies here. Cloth items also found with the bones were ancient purses made of woven material, according to archaeologists from the University of Central Florida and Yale, who have been enlisted to work on the mystery. Although they may never get to the bottom of how the skulls ended up in this area of Florida, the items could have been brought back to the U.S. as holiday souvenirs at a time when it was more acceptable. It's now illegal to transport bones. Miss Garavagilia told ABC another possibility is that it used to be a migrant farm worker camp, and some cultures will bring part of their heritage with them when they leave, and it could be that they were moving on and decided to bury it here. Yeah, I mean, that ties right in with what we're talking about. Definitely could be an important find here. We'll just have to see. Anthropologists working in the south of France believe they have discovered the oldest example of cave art on a 1.5 metric ton block limestone. The carvings date back to 37,000 years ago in the areas of Abry-Castanet and Abry-Blanchard. Both sites were some of the earliest examples of mankind living in the European continent have been discovered. Those of a weak disposition look away now, as one painting shows a circle with an attachment and is believed to depict a lady's sexual organs. So they have now found 37,000-year-old porn in a cave. You know what that proves, motherfucker? That proves that way back in antiquity, people were hitting their shit a lot longer than we've been told. Dun, 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 this week on Ancient Aliens. What was 37,000-year-old porn doing in a cave in France? Some kind of phallus. We'll hear from Giorgio Supocalypse. And I think that the only thing that this dick and pussy could be is aliens. Dun, 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 this week on Ancient Aliens. So, yeah, I mean, if you ever had any doubt, people were hitting their shit somewhere 37,000 years ago. So, go ahead and let go of that guilt. It's okay. Hit your shit. People were doing it in caves and carving shit into caves about wanting to put their sausage in a clam, 37,000 years ago. Not a lot's changed. The porn has gotten better, though, I have to say. I'm not stroking my shit to rock carvings. Well, I don't know. Not all the time. Sometimes, but not all the time. Just 2 days a week. I've limited myself. Solar Defense Force. What? That's what you want to see when you come to read an article, isn't it? Solar Defense Force. 50 new satellites to fly into the northern lights and help defend planes against sunstorms. But nothing's going on with the sun, folks. You're a crazy conspiracy theorist if you think so. Don't listen to Josh Reeves. He doesn't know what he's talking about. There's not anything going on with the sun. It's all normal. But your gas-guzzling SUV that we're charging you $4 a gallon to put gas in is causing that. So I guess they think it's a big enough problem they're doing this. A solar defense force. When solar winds plummet the earth, bright northern lights erupt in the sky, but the effect can also leave aircraft at risk as radio waves are blocked by the sky. A new network of 50 satellites aims to find out what happens inside the northern lights and hopefully forecast solar weather like we forecast rain on Earth. In 2013, the University of Oslo was to fire 50 satellites up in one rocket, each about the size of a milk carton with instruments the size of 4 needles. In the northern regions, GPS satellites low in the sky means that the signals have to pass through the atmosphere. This reinforces the navigation problems. Universities around the world are now working together to understand what is happening at the micro level in the plasma clouds. When they found the answers, the space experts will be able to forecast space weather, just like meteorologists forecast the Earth's weather every day. And why is this all of a sudden necessary? It's never been necessary. Well, we have all them satellites up there now. We've had satellites up there for a long goddamn time. We've never needed and had a necessity to be able to predict space weather. Why do we have a necessity and a need to predict space weather now? Because they're done. I'm going through changes. Yeah. It's going through, the sun's going through changes. Period. End of story. Speaking of period, end of story, I think that's probably about it on our news. I think that's all we got. Not a lot at all tonight. Hopefully be more tomorrow, but either way, we'll be here. We'll do another show tomorrow for sure. Let's get into now our new book, The Lost Worlds of Ancient America. Sounds very similar to the title of my movie. My title of my movie is The Lost Secrets of Ancient America, Volume 1. This is The Lost Worlds of Ancient America, Compelling Evidence of Ancient Immigrants, Lost Technologies, and Places of Power by Frank Joseph. Copyright 2002, so this just came out. I'm sorry, 2012. Let's see here. All right, here it is. Forward, a new voyage into prehistory. My good friend Frank Joseph has put together a most significant compilation of intriguing information about the exploration of the Americas long before Christopher Columbus dropped anchor off the shores of San Salvador. These revelations will change our perspectives of the past. History books will have to be rewritten to accommodate such new information. We can no longer take for granted and with faith versions of the past we were taught in school. These previous notions must be discarded in favor of a new historical paradigm provided by independent investigators. Frank is one of these pioneers who researched prehistory for decades. His publications and expertise qualify him as the perfect editor for such an eclectic anthology. I nonetheless suggest and urge readers to keep an open mind while reading it. The Lost Worlds of Ancient America offers them a new way of seeing the history of their country and a fresh appreciation of the wonderful accomplishments achieved here before the arrival of modern Europeans. Numerous pre-Columbian explorers may have traversed the Atlantic, as evidenced in their surviving archaeological sites and artifacts. These finds are being researched, studied, and evaluated by experts and professionals and avocationals from all over the world. The Lost Worlds of Ancient America is additionally valuable for its power to stimulate public interest in the subject and encourage professional research into it. Certainly more scholars with open minds are needed to address and investigate possibilities for overseas influence at work on our country in pre-Columbian times. Science as a tool collects data for honest evaluation, minus any preconceived notions or biases. Sadly, such scientific objectivity is currently missing from orthodox scholars, and accordingly, it is my hope that this new book will serve as a catalyst for a new kind of research, free from the narrow-mindedness and academic mindset that have so far hobbled the healthy growth of archaeology in our country. In any case, readers of The Lost Worlds of Ancient America are sure to embark on their own voyage of discovery into the remote past. I wish them a safe and enlightening journey. So, here we go. Introduction. Unlocking America's Forbidden Past by Frank Joseph. New opinions often appear first as jokes and fancies, then as blasphemies and treason, then as questions open to discussion, and finally as established truths. When publisher Wayne May asked me to edit a new magazine he wanted to release in the summer of 1993, our chief purpose was to challenge a predominant dogma we knew was false. Until then, the belief that America had been hermetically sealed off from the rest of the outside world before the arrival of Christopher Columbus went unquestioned throughout our country's public information and educational systems. Scattered groups and societies of a few mostly amateur scholars collected what evidence they could to the contrary. But these avocational antiquarians only passed information back and forth among themselves. None of it ever so much as leaked outside the small, isolated circles of homegrown enthusiasts. Ancient American Magazine shattered that impotent anonymity by preaching the cause of cultural diffusionism, the position that our continent's pre-Columbian past has been richly endowed by overseas visitors to the public at large. America, we know, has been a melting pot long before the Statue of Liberty was set up in New York Harbor. From Ancient American's very first issue and every one of the nearly 100 that followed without a break throughout the last 18 years, it popularized nonconformist archaeology with simple, clear text, illustrated and abundant photographic evidence that confronted scientific orthodoxy, not with unsubstantiated theories or personal opinions, but dramatic documentation in the form of artifacts from the ancient old world and the latest breakthroughs in the genetic and forensic sciences. Some of the best writers to ever grace the pages of Ancient American are represented in this New Page Books, third collection of our magazine's outstanding articles. These men and women have devoted many years, sometimes decades, in pursuit of the real prehistory of our continent. I'm done reading this. I'm not going to read the fucking intro bullshit. I'm done with that. Moving to chapter 1. Chapter 1. Lost Worlds of Ancient America by Frank Joseph. California's Buried Altar and Monument to the Great Flood. Written by Frank Joseph. The recent and dramatic find of a foreign pre-Columbian artifact in Western America is also among the most convincing of its kind ever made. The stone block's discovery under conditions beyond all possibilities of fraud, plus the nature of its identity, represent a truly revealing discovery. Not far away, another monolith is inscribed with one of the largest, most complex examples of rock art. Both objects are clues to the mysterious prehistory of the Golden State. Frank Joseph was editor-in-chief of Ancient American Magazine from its founding in 1993 until his retirement. Why are they giving me his bio in the middle of a fucking paragraph? I don't care about his bio. Shortly after the turn of the 21st century, an old house was being torn down in a western neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. After its demolition, workers began digging up the backyard in preparation for new construction. At 5 feet beneath the surface, their shovels struck something unexpectedly bulky and solid. Persistent excavation brought to light a sculpted monolith, 3.4 feet tall with a base measurement of 1.7 by 1.6 feet. The reddish igneous block is almost perfectly rectangular in shape, weighs 228 pounds, and shows the effects of having been buried in acidic soil for many centuries. Abstract lines and small semicircles identically cover either side, while more than halfway up the broader front, the likeness of a human head partially emerges from the center in bas relief, surrounded by engraved ridges suggesting a hairstyle terminating below the head in large twin curls. The oblate facial features are carefully molded, although details are sparse. Small eyes and mouth are depicted with possible remnants of nose and brow. These carvings resemble nothing similar to indigenous Californian or even North American tribal imagery. They are utterly unlike anything found in Native American art, either prehistoric or contemporary. Indian material culture did not include monumental stone sculptures. After a cursory examination during a recent exhibition of the public broadcast system's well-known Antiquities Roadshow, an appraiser archaeologist could offer no opinion save that the large object, judging from its soil stains, was at least 500 years old, but probably much older than that. Curators from the archaeological department at the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles have not been able to add anything to the appraiser's limited assessment, although they did not question the unique artwork's pre-Columbian provenance, its precise age, original purpose, significance of its illustrated surface, or identity of its creators escaped them. Owners of the monolith shared what they know of their accidental find with Ancient American on conditions of personal anonymity and privacy concerning the undisclosed whereabouts of their discovery. It must forever remain an insoluble mystery, so long as mainstream scholars restrict their investigation within the borders of pre-Columbian North America. In the light of the outside world, however, the artifact stands revealed. Its full face, sculpted relief with stylized headdress, and crude though effective execution finds it close likeness in an ancient old world deity. Beginning with the mid-16th century BC, the Phoenicians began to assert their separate identity and emerge from the other Semitic peoples of Canaan, a kingdom roughly corresponding to the region encompassing modern-day Israel, Palestinian territories, western parts of Syria, and Lebanon. Here we go. Folks, I'm going to go ahead. I got to tell you, that's what my research is showing in all this stuff. Ancient Phoenicians, ancient Canaanites, ancient Hebrews. They were here. They fucked something and somebody and made Indians. Abraham Lincoln got shot and died, freed his slaves, so they put him on the 5. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I didn't even know about this find, and this is like the 20th one I've found out about. We're talking 50,000 years ago. They were ancient. Wait a minute. Were there? How could there be Hebrews and Canaanites and Phoenicians 50,000 years ago? That doesn't fit into the timeline they tell me. Well, that's what DNA evidence says. Because all the DNA evidence that they've done on the mound builders and on the people show this DNA genetic marker that only comes from one place in the world, and that's Galilee in what we know as Israel. All Native Americans have the same genetic marker that identifies them with a cluster of people that originate at Galilee in Israel. And they can date that to 50,000 years ago. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. There was a guy in the 1950s or 60s, I can't remember when it was, that examined the rock wall who had been in Carthage. Ancient city, he had been excavating the ancient city of Carthage. And when he saw the walls of the rock wall here in Texas, he said that he had seen that building structure before, that style of stoneworking before, but he had seen it only in one place. And that was in Carthage, the Temple of Carthage. You go look up, go just type in Carthage into Google and go look that up and read whose kingdom that was. Phoenicians, Canaanites. They found an inscription, the Bat Creek inscription, on the border of Tennessee and Alabama. It says, "For Judea," which is what they called ancient Israel. Look up the Amorites, Amorits, the Amorites. The Amorites were that's a historical record, mainstream mission. They were a race of red-headed giants that were kicked out of the Middle East and moved west. And the Ratawatankas, another race of giants who were associated more with the Nordics And I think they were apparently, the bad guys. And the Amorites were, the ones that actually took in the tribe and showed them things. And most likely the Amorites are our culprit for who seeded Native Americans as we know it. Now, that's not giving away too much of stuff that's going to be in the film, but that's just reading this book. That's what the research is showing, folks. I had to say that because that finding of that guy who said that the only stones he'd ever seen, like the ones in Rockwall, came from Carthage, and then to oh my God, really, Carthage? That's Canaanite Phoenician. They found a Phoenician fortress in Oklahoma. They found plates buried down at the level of the soil where dinosaurs were, right near the Dallas Masonic Lodge. That had skull and bones and Phoenician letters and stars and shit on them. So yeah, I mean, as I was saying earlier in the show, folks, because it says in the ancient Sumerian text that, and it also talks about this in Greek mythology too, that the gods gave their demigods or their lower gods dominion over various different places on the earth. And it talks about the Anunnaki did that. Anu gave all of his children and all the different Anunnaki dominion over different parts of the earth. So it's very likely that when we started to see people having advancements in technology and knowledge and the rise of what we know as Native Americans in North and South America occurred at about 50,000 years ago. The problem is the rock wall dates anywhere from 55 billion years on the low side up to 500 million on the high side. Either way, people have been here, folks, on this planet, not only on this planet, but in this country, way, 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 way longer than we have ever been led to believe. Let's continue here. In full-face sculpted relief with stylized headdress and crude, though effective execution finds his likeness close to an old-world deity. Beginning in the mid-16th century BC, the Phoenicians started to assert their separate identity and emerge from the other Semitic peoples of Canaan, a kingdom roughly corresponding to the region encompassing modern-day Israel, Palestinian territories, western parts of Syria, and Lebanon. In fact, most of today's Lebanese are more or less directly descended from the Phoenicians. According to the 2011 census, only 12% of today's population in Lebanon are Arab. DNA studies reveal overwhelming genetic similarities between Phoenicians and most modern Lebanese. They argue that Arabization merely represented a shift to the Arabic language as a vernacular of the Lebanese people, states Wikipedia, and that, according to them, no actual shift of ethnic identity, much less ancestral origins, occurred. Thus, Phoenicianists emphasize that the Arabs of Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, Egypt, Sudan, Tunisia, Iraq, and all other Arabs are different peoples, each descended from the indigenous pre-Arab populations of their respective regions, with their own histories and lore, and that, therefore, they do not belong to the one pan-Arab ethnicity, and thus such categorization is erred and inapplicable. The globe-trotting proclivity of modern Lebanese is a part of their character heritage from Phoenician ancestors, whose large, sturdy ships built with the cedars of Lebanon enabled them the establishment of a mercantile empire that spanned the Mediterranean Sea and carried colonists around the African continent more than 1,000 years before Vasco da Gama. Among the Phoenicians' most beloved deities was Ashtart, their version of the much earlier Sumerian Inanna. She was the divine patroness of both fertility and war, life and death, twin aspects embodied in her celestial light. The planet Venus rising in the east as the morning star and setting in the west as the evening star. 11th century BC Phoenician cosmologist Sanchehuintheon portrayed her as the mighty one, wandering through the world, an appropriate conception for the far-ranging Phoenicians, whose sailors prayed to her as Our Lady of the Sea. When they arrived in Egypt as traders and settlers, Ashtart was welcomed as a popular import by their hosts, assuming some features in an indigenous goddess, Hathor, particularly her iconic headdress, with its bouffant configuration ending in two close-fitting curls. Yeah, Hathor, Columbia, Inanna, Ishtar. We got a big statue of that in fucking New York. Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, same thing. Thereafter, Ashtart was usually portrayed wearing the stylized headdress wherever the Phoenicians traveled, as evidenced by one of their bronze figures of the goddess from Carranzo, Spain. The Egyptians worshipped her as Kadashu during the 18th and 19th dynasties from 1550 until 1200 BC. When the two peoples had a falling out, a prayer to Ashtart, Quashadu, found in Egypt at the Phoenician burial, was probably a standard text dedicated to the deity wherever she was venerated. Praise, Lady of the Stars, of heaven, mistress of all the gods. May she grant life, welfare, prosperity, and health. Mayest thou grant that I behold thy beauty daily. Although the countenance protruding from the Los Angeles monolith wears a Hathor headdress, it does not belong to that Egyptian goddess or Kodashu, because neither deity was ever so cruelly depicted in the Nile Valley. Phoenician divinities, on the contrary, were often coarsely portrayed, such as the photograph example included here from the 8th century BC, Handramentum, a Phoenician colony in Tanzania, North Africa, of Ashart's engraved image. Its resemblance to the California figure, wholly unlike any other representation of this goddess, is unmistakable. Moreover, the face-forward style was diagnostic of Phoenician sculpted art. With the decline of Egyptian and Mycenaean Greek influence on the Aegean world after the 13th century BC, the Phoenicians were free to exploit the rest of the Mediterranean Sea and beyond. Throughout the Atlantic realm, where colonies were established in western Morocco and Iberia, they are known to have brought back oranges from the Canary Islands, together with a costly purple dye, the Purpura murex, found in a rare sea snail shell from Madeira, and they left a hoard of coins on the even more remote Azore island of Corfu. The Los Angeles monolith is physical proof they sailed further. Like other objects of its kind, the sculpted block conforms in size and rectangular cubic shape to a stone altar for the worship of Ashtart, the Lady of the Sea, who safely brought Phoenician visitors to the west coast of our continent more than 2,000 years ago. Farther back than that, buddy. Keep on pushing it back, please. Every date they tell us, every date you hear on a regular basis, way too early. We got to keep pushing this stuff back. Another California monolith is better known, but hardly less revealing of foreign travelers to our continent in prehistory. Standing alone on the side of a boulder-strewn mountain, one of America's most perfect works of ancient rock art faces a broad valley. Just west from the town of Hemet, some 90 miles southeast of the Los Angeles Ashtart monolith, a massive gray egg-shaped stone is emblazoned with the intricate design of a labyrinthine maze enclosed in a 3.5-foot square. Although rarely visited, the large image is surrounded by a metal fence, topped with barbed wire, in the center of a 5.75-acre preserve set up more than 40 years ago, known as the Maze Stone County Park. Even so, few Americans are unaware of its existence. The anciently illustrated boulder is covered with a light patina, referred to by locals as desert varnish. The results from a process of natural oxidation and may be used for dating the maze someday, after scientists are able to more precisely evaluate the percentage of change in mineral elements laid down on hard surfaces over time. Desert varnish likewise appears within the carving itself, although to a lesser extent than occurs over the rest of the boulder, which geologists estimate has been exposed in its present location after tumbling down from higher up the mountain about 15,000 years ago. The comparisons between the two accumulations of patina give a rough date of 3,000 to 4,000 years before present, although conventional archaeologists are known to gag at such figures offered by other sciences over which they have no control. Typical is University of California archaeologist Daniel F. McCarthy, who says it is much younger. They always much younger. Yeah, they always freak out. The scientists cannot handle this. They cannot handle that their whole little world, they have been lied to. Even when they have the evidence, even when there's DNA evidence. You know, all this stuff, oh, the Phoenicians were here 2,000 years ago. Man, they were here farther back than that. Because the DNA evidence shows it. The DNA evidence shows that Native Americans had this blood in them like 50,000 years ago. Hello? The geological evidence seems unconvincing based on pottery shards, ancient tools, and other artifacts. He was unable to demonstrate, however, any connection whatsoever between his pottery shards and the maize stone, which was executed with a geometrical precision too sophisticated for the hunter-gatherers of McCarthy's 16th century villagers, who left no designs of any kind behind at their site. Local Indians appear to be genuinely ignorant of the stone's origins or significance, and were surprised as everyone else when it was discovered by Irish homesteaders before World War I. The maize is actually a swastika, a symbol known to numerous Native American tribes across the continent from at least Hopewellian times, beginning around 200 BC when some of the earliest surviving examples were made of copper. What it meant to these prehistoric peoples has not come down to us. Yeah, it has. It was a sun symbol. We know, yeah. You hadn't done your research here, son. It was always a sun symbol. Its original intent was always as a sun symbol. And I know that is correct because I had a guy who was a 32nd degree Scottish Rite and a whatever the highest degree is, 16th degree, whatever it is, of York Rite. He was both, which I didn't even know you could be both. Thought you could be one or the other. He went for the fucking gusto and wanted all the Freemasonry he could get. He was our tour guide a couple of years ago when we went up to the Guthrie Lodge, world's largest Masonic cathedral in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And he took us on some parts of the place that weren't on the tour. One of which, coincidentally enough, strange enough, it really didn't make sense to me at the time. Makes a lot more sense to me now. They have a game room inside of this Masonic lodge for Native Americans. And they call it the Indian Room. And Native Americans come in there and play pool and stuff and hang out for whatever reason. I just always thought that seemed odd to me that, you know, why are the Native Americans are still coming and hanging out at the Masonic Lodge and playing pool? And anyway, it was all decorated with Indian stuff. And they had swastikas everywhere. The Indians saw swastikas. And the guy was getting ready, this Mason was getting ready to explain this to us. He's like, now, don't freak out. A lot of people see this, you know, they see these swastikas and they think of the Nazis, you know, and he starts getting ready to explain. I go, oh, no. We know what that is. You know, it's a sun symbol. And he was literally taken aback that we knew that. He was like, yeah, you're exactly right. How'd you know that? And he was, oh man, before I left, he was, oh, you're not a Mason? You're not a Mason? Boy, you ought to be. Boy, you ought to be. That's what he kept telling me. Every time Mason hears, they know what I'm talking about. They're like, man, they're trying to recruit me and shit. I'm like, man, I'm not a big joiner, you know? Oh, man. But yeah, absolutely, positively, that is a sun symbol. The Hopi preserve among their most important oral traditions an account of ancestral origins from a great flood that practically annihilated mankind. They believe that relatively few survivors migrated from the eastern location of the deluge, finally settling in the American Southwest. To the Hopi, this mass migration of their grandfathers is signified by the counterclockwise hooked cross, signifying the mass migration of their ancestors from the east. Whether or not it is the same symbol that motivated the ancient carvers of the Hemet maze is not known, but whatever it represents, it must have stood for something of real importance and merit and high artistic effort. Well, if it's carved into the ground and it's a maze, and it's shaped like that, just like we see these mounds and everything all aligned to the solstices and equinoxes. That kind of makes my theory that they align these to these celestial events because of these events like, great floods and stuff like that that happen on a cyclical basis that they were trying to warn us about that have to do with the sun. Clearly, it was originally meant to be seen and appreciated by many people. So we're going to stop right there for tonight, and we'll pick back up with that tomorrow. Fascinating stuff here, and I'm glad we were able to get into a book that's fitting more into what I'm talking about right now, because this is where my head is, and it's really schizophrenic for me to be making a movie about something. And it was really tough when I was making Secret Right and Secret Right 2, because I want to be talking about these subjects, but then I got to go as soon as I'm off the radio show and go and work on a film of a completely different subject and get my head in a different headspace. And, being able to do the radio show, and, I still don't mind news and getting into other topics, but it's just really difficult for me to not kind of get into with you here on these shows the topic of what I'm currently researching, So there it is. TheGlobalReality.com is my website. Please support our work if you can. We do need your support right now. We got a lot of ways you can do that. We have Amazon gift list up there if you don't want to make a cash donation where you can pick something up that we need that'll support our films and our radio show. We also have P.O. Box if you absolutely can't use PayPal. Donate button, you can put any amount you want into. Just please support our work if you can. My name's Josh Reeves, and I love each and every one of you, and we'll see you tomorrow for the broadcast.